Hi, my name is... Can I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jim Prey, and this is the Jim Prey Show. And this is my lucky day today because my special guest is the beautiful, very, very talented Andrea Todaro. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jim. It's an absolute honor and pleasure to be here. I'm so excited today. Can't even imagine.
Okay, and here's your big chance to plug your website and anything else you want to plug.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, I'm the president of Innovative Placements, and we help people with disabilities find employment in the community. My website is www.innovativeplacementswny.com. You can go there and check out all of our success stories, all of our videos, our placement services that we provide, and we are just so committed to helping people with disabilities realize really great quality of life and improve their overall quality of employment. We help them with every step across the board and along the way to make that happen. So we start with helping them with resume development, resume and cover letter. And then we go through and we help them with job placement services and helping them to find exactly the right match in employment. So we do a lot of different types of things, and I won't get into all of that right now, Jim, but it's an absolute pleasure to be able to talk about what we've been doing for the last 20 years. So we continue to go live and strong.
Okay, do you want to talk about you're trying to raise money for a charity?
Oh, thank you. Yes, yes. Thanks for jogging my memory on that. Yeah, very excited about our endeavor. We host 2 career fairs biannually. We have 2 career fairs at the Erie County Downtown Public Library right on Lafayette Square. We have one coming up on Thursday, October 26th. It's from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have employers coming early for a breakfast/awards luncheon from 9 to 10. So we always have, job seekers out in abundance for these career fairs, and we have about 30 employers or so that are on board. That's at capacity for the library. We'd certainly have more employers, but these are employers that are truly committed to hiring people with disabilities and increasing their diversity initiatives. So they're employers that are familiar with diversity and inclusion and go the extra mile to make it happen within their organization successfully and work all those moving parts. So we are looking for sponsors for this endeavor. Unfortunately, one of the state agencies we were working with is not providing the marketing and advertising funding for the event this year, which is fine. They've been, sponsoring that for the last several years. So now we're looking to go out into the community and have employers help with this endeavor. Again, help with that commitment to encouraging individuals with disabilities to get out there, become more confident and empowered, and get out into the workforce again. That's what we're all about, is improving, as I said, someone's overall quality of life through employment. So, we're really looking at employers to kind of, step up and make that happen. And we've already done a GoFundMe campaign on Facebook and also on the GoFundMe site. We've raised almost $2,000 through that. So we're really pleased. We just started less than a week ago. So we're going strong, but we're really looking for more donors to help with the cost of advertising, the breakfast for the event, parking, and some of the other logistics.
Okay. On your the business that you own, do you besides people with disabilities, would you also try to help other people like vets and that to find jobs?
Well, U.S. vets, absolutely. We work with vets, but they do have to have a disability to qualify for our services.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, disability knows no face, name, creed, religion, ethnicity. It covers all areas and all people. So it really is more abundant in the population than we can surmise. 1 in 5 individuals happen to have a disability, so that's 20% of our U.S. population. And a disability can be as negligible and minor and non-apparent as someone who has a mental health disability that now is under medication and treatment services and is pretty much rehabilitated already and ready to work. Or it could be someone with cerebral palsy, a mild or moderate or severe version. So we work with the broad gamut of individuals with disabilities, entry-level cleaners all the way up to high-end executives. So we can have mid-level, like say a technician or a network engineer, all the way up to PhDs. So So yes, we work with refugees with disabilities, Native Americans, everyone. They do have to have a disability. However, you would be surprised. People don't always know what a disability entails or what it is. And a disability can be one of the developmental disabilities. It could be an intellectual deficit, a learning disability, mental health. It can be pretty much anything, vision impairment, hearing impairment. And as we get older in age, by the time you're 60, I think 50% of individuals have disabilities at that point. They might have, for instance, I can be very transparent. I have fibromyalgia, minor version of it.
What is that?
Yeah. Well, it's a neurological condition that creates widespread pain throughout the body. So I may wake up and I may have a creak here and there and not always be feeling 125%. But, I still, thank heavens, with Fibro have boundless energy and still apply that in my daily routine and career. But, I don't let it stop me in the slightest bit. So it doesn't, yeah.
Is it sort of like arthritis where just a lot of pain?
It's a little like arthritis, but it definitely entails, a bit more than that. It's like, it's a little like MS, but definitely in a different family. I wouldn't say it's identical to MS because MS certainly has a greater severity and MS is more degenerative than fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is more stable. You might have some flare-ups. They call them fibro flare-ups, but it's a condition. I wouldn't say it's so much of a disease, but it depends. There are severe conditions where people can't even leave their houses or work or get out of bed for days at a time. So fibro can be very severe. As I said, thank heavens, mine's a pretty negligible version of fibromyalgia. However, we all have a little something, I think. So I always like to say, don't diss my ability when it comes to disabilities. I'd like to get T-shirts made saying, don't diss my ability. And I also would like to say that, I'd like to call it a varying ability. I think everyone has varying abilities. And we just happen to help people who might need a little bit more assistance in entering the workforce and maybe have been out of work for a period of time and need a little bit more empowerment and confidence building. So we work on that end.
Well, I just wanted to say what I think you're doing is a real good thing. And I'm sort of curious. How did you come up with the idea of this company? Because I think it's a really good idea because it's really fills a needs and it really helps a lot of people.
I really think so. Thank you. And I'm really humbled that you say that and honored to be here today, as I mentioned. Well, I feel that we're all service-oriented in a way. I feel like every single person out there has a mission to give back and to help others. So I don't think that I'm an overly unique person by helping people with disabilities because we're all out there helping each other in various ways, first of all. Not to discredit the work I do, I think it really is. It's a labor of love all the way. I always like to say that it's an absolute labor of love and a passion of mine, and not just a sweeping passion. I've been doing this line of work for over 20 years now. I have started my own business, back in 2001.
Well, I wanted to say, I noticed you went to Fredonia College.
I did, yes.
As I think music therapy, and then I think you got a human resources degree, I think from Villanova.
Wow.
Yeah.
You researched me very well. You know all about me.
Yes, I do.
I'm scared now. No, I'm just kidding.
I do my homework.
You did your homework.
Well, I'm just curious how you came up with this idea because I think it's a great idea because were you working a job, a 9-to-5 job, and you just say, well, I should be an owner of a company that finds jobs for people with disabilities. That's my niche in life, and that's what I mean. How did you come up with this idea? Because I think it's a great idea.
Well, you just called it. It's amazing. It's almost like you have some telepathic kind of inclination here. I'm a little scared by your mental telepathy. Like you actually just plucked that out of, that's exactly how it originated. It's amazing. I was working for the human service agencies and absolutely loving working as a job developer.
Yeah.
I didn't, have this perfect career trajectory. A lot of people think, you're going to graduate from college and they have this perfect projection of how it's going to go. And it never goes that way.
Right.
It's never a linear path. So I had an amazing experience of, working with developmentally disabled individuals in group homes, in direct care positions. I traveled from Buffalo to Springville for $6 an hour in my first job, and took care of a boy with a degenerative disease called Sanfilippo disorder. And he was 16 years old, but operated on a 9-month-old level. So he was definitely a challenge in many ways, but the most lovable delight of a person to work with. So I kind of paid my dues. I had to absolutely kind of, earn my battle scars or my stripes or whatever you want to call it, but I had to get the experience before forging out and creating my own business. So what I did was, I found that when I was working for the human service agencies for about 6 years, I got the lay of the land. I got a feel for navigating the human services industry and circuits, and in the bylaws and everything that kind of goes into the equation of learning about the rules and regulations, ADA, paratransit, some of those other peripheral services, case management. So I really got immersed in supported employment. I worked in that setting for several years, and I'd also worked with veterans, welfare to work population, and people with disabilities. So in getting a feel for, and refugees I should mention too, so getting a feel for all those populations gave me the foundation to use that as a springboard. And I was kind of sick of hearing job developer extraordinaire and getting those pats on the back without seeing my salary go up in succession. So I said, I love it. I don't want to have to oversee a department of many people to be able to get a better wage. So I decided to forge out on my own, and I certainly haven't looked back since I originated my own business in 2001. I connected with Access VR, which is one of the placement partnering agencies I work with. So they're the placement partners that supply, I would say, about 80% of my referrals. They're absolutely phenomenal to work with. They're one of the most wonderful, embracing, generous agencies I have ever encountered. So when I first went in for the interview with them in 2001, I'll never forget, the placement coordinator, who's still there, Dennis Martinez, had said, you can't make a full-time business out of this, Andrea. There's going to be a lull in the action. There's going to be, kind of like a flux in placements, maybe per diem or part-time, but this is something you definitely want to just wrap around another job. I didn't really take that at face value because I knew how passionate I was about job placement and increasing someone's overall quality of life, as I mentioned. And I felt I had gained a level of humanity and humility in working in this profession. And things do not come overnight. You have to till the land and be very tenacious in working with people with disabilities and the employers that are serving them. So I put my pedal to the metal and forged a path and said, okay, I'm going for this, and I'm going to just cut my apron strings, and I'm going to just go solo. I'm not going to work for an agency. I'm just going to make this my bread and butter and my complete solar plexus. So I did that, and I got a referral, and I placed that client in employment successfully, and then I placed another client, and then I placed another client, and now we have to turn referrals down. For the last few years, we've had to actually, sometimes say, sorry, we've reached our cap. We're getting inundated. So, now we work with about 150 people at a time, and I've had to hire subcontractors to keep up with all the volume, the work, and it's an absolutely phenomenal industry. There's never a dull moment. It's always organic and morphing, and you're always learning and growing through it because you're always meeting new people. So it's amazing.
Okay, let me ask you, so how many years have you been owner of this business? And when you first started out, was it scary, and were you like putting in like 70, 80 hours a week?
You've asked the best questions, Jim. I'll tell you, you're one of the best interviewers I've had. And I didn't anticipate any of this. This is all organic. I never received any prep, but you're asking questions that I can definitely give you a great answer to. So I have to say that I wasn't that fearful about it. I just had this sort of intuition and inner knowing that I could make it happen.
Right.
And I also knew that I'd land in a nice soft spot if it didn't, that I could land like a feet on my, like I should say, like I could land like a cat on my feet. Sorry, wrong analogy there. But I really felt comfortable that, if I was able to forge out and produce results, because it really is a very results-driven industry. You're not just sitting back and waiting for placements to happen, for success to happen. You have to be meeting with clients. You've got to be goading and prompting them, encouraging and fostering confidence. There's a lot of little tiny little micro steps that occur along the way. So for me, it was a tiny bit daunting, but I don't really think I was thinking of the next step. It just kind of organically unfolded, where I just got another referral and another referral. Yeah. So I was just excited about all the action. And yes, I put in a ton of hours. I probably worked 14-hour days when I first started for the first 4 or 5 years. But the passion for this field propelled me to do that. The passion propelled me forward in terms of wanting to put those hours. And it didn't feel like 14 hours. It felt like a magic carpet ride. And I think when you plug into your passion, whatever it is, you're kind of like Mozart. It's that Mozart effect where you're, wanting to just work feverishly to make it happen. And but you can't grow complacent. That's one thing that's really important. If I can impart any tips of wisdom, it's don't grow complacent with what you're doing.
And how many years have you been the owner of the business?
Yeah, you asked that question. I should have answered. 18 years. 18
wow,
years.
So have you reached the point where you hired other workers and subcontracted where you don't have to put in as many hours as in the beginning?
I have definitely reached the point where I'm subcontracting to other workers. But to answer your second question, absolutely, I still put in a lot of hours a week. And it's an odd sort of thing where I may not work the traditional 8 to 4, 9 to 5 schedule. I certainly don't adhere to that religiously. I may work 8 to 2, take a break from 2 to 3 to maybe do a jog or distress or what have you, and then I plug into the action from, say, 4 to 7, then maybe take some time with my beau, and then from 9 to 11 work, So it's just, it's kind of, when I'm needed. And then there are other days where I'll work straight through from 8 until 8 at night, 8 in the morning until 8 at night. But I do it because I love it. And maybe I'm a little compulsive. Maybe I'm a little addicted to it, but it's just a fun experience for me. So I have 4 or 5 subcontractors that help along every stage of the process. Okay, so every step of the way, we have someone to kind of, help unlock the next step for clients. So the first step is that they're referred to me and I do an assessment on each individual. I meet with them personally. We meet with them in a mutually convenient spot. So we can meet at an employment and training center like the Buffalo Employment and Training Center. So maybe one of the area one-stop centers. We might meet at the New York State Department of Labor. But we also might meet at a coffee house if they feel like maybe it's a little more disarming to meet at a coffee house and be a little more comfortable. And if I feel comfortable with that, I'll meet them there. We might meet at their home sometimes if transportation in their area is limited and they live in a rural area. So we meet them where they're at, literally and figuratively. We don't expect for them to feel uncomfortable or step too far outside their comfort zone. But we do get them slightly outside of their comfort zone. So what we do as we meet with them, we do an initial assessment on their needs, on everything that they need. Not just the employment piece, but how are they taking care of themselves? We try to take a holistic approach. Like, are they eating well? Are they healthy? What's their state of living, their living conditions? What's their state of mind and mental well-being? And how can we work with that mental well-being to improve it? So we might invite them to a workshop. That brings me to our workshops. We have some amazing group facilitators. And one does kind of a using your internal GPS workshop, which is kind of unorthodox. We have, as I said, a lot of workshops. Some are unorthodox, some are more kind of tried and true and traditional. But the ones that are unorthodox kind of help them to sort of like do maybe a body movement mantra that would actually get them out of their comfort zone so they can start breaking out of negative patterns of behavior and thinking. Because often these people have been told again and again, you have a disability, you have a disability, you have a disability. So they are equating and identifying so heavily and largely with that disability, they've forgotten about all of their talents and attributes, and they're not thinking as much for themselves anymore. And so we get them to get back into the driver's seat again of life and use our workshops as a turnkey for just getting outside, stepping outside of their parameters and limitations and realizing everything and the wealth of experience they've had in the past, maybe their forgotten or hidden talents, and getting them back into the game of life. So the workshops entail, kind of maybe doing some interview coaching, confidence building exercises, group dynamic exercises to kind of determine how they're interacting in groups and get them comfortable in socializing out in the community again, because some of them are a little bit socially isolated.
Okay, I got a question for you, and I hope you don't get angry and throw something at me.
Oh my God, I already have something in my hand.
But I'm saying, If I don't ask you this, people are going to say, Jim, you idiot. She's got a great singing voice. Why didn't you tell her to sing something a cappella?
Well, you might be throwing something at me like Rotten Tomatoes if I decide to do that. You might get your tomato machine out. But anyway, I've got the right red on for the tomatoes, so you can go ahead. All right. I am also an opera singer. It's another foray of mine that I like to trek down occasionally. And I really enjoy kind of just spreading my wings periodically throughout the year to travel internationally. I was in Italy performing with, this International Young Artist Project. I'm not a young artist, as you can probably tell, but I was able to have that wonderful opportunity of playing a lead role, very humbled and honored to play Donna Anna and Don Giovanni in Italy and tour throughout mid-Tuscany doing that. So I've performed in New York over the last year, New York Lyric Opera, New York Nickel City. I can mention them, but do you want me to hit it?
Yeah, we want to.
Okay. Well, I'm not at all warmed up for this experience. I've also been talking all day at a career fair, so we'll see how this all goes.
Well, you could have a drink of water before you start.
I think I'm going to do that. I think I need a drink of something heavier. I think I need a mixed drink. Although I don't really drink, but I probably would like this spiked. All right. Oh mio bambino caro, mi piace bello, bello, vuoi andare in Porta Rossa a comprare l'anello. Sì, sì, ci voglio andare. E se l'amas, se ma per buttarmi in arno mi strogo e mi tormento. Oh, Dio, Babbo pietà, pietà, Babbo pietà, pietà.
Boy, that was great. I got to give you the applause button for that.
Oh my.
That was amazing.
Thank you. Well, I didn't really expect to be put on the spot to do that, or maybe I did just a little bit, even though you didn't ask for it. I thought, well, if he's going to mainline it into opera, I guess I'll have to be ready. But I didn't do any vocal warm-ups for that, I must say.
But I'm saying without warming up, so I mean, that must have took a lot of training.
Well, I can also say that song is just so near and dear to my heart. Just to explain what I was singing about, it was O mio bambino caro. A lot of people think that it's O mio bambino caro, or about a mother rocking her baby to sleep, because it sounds a little like a lullaby. Maybe it did to you. I sang it a little more in a lullaby version. Didn't want to blast anyone out of the room here and break any light fixtures, which I could very well do if I sang full mast, full force. But it is actually about a woman who is pleading to marry Renunzio. It's a star-crossed lover's connection where Renunzio is on the other side of the tracks in the family, and the family doesn't want her to marry him. So it's, you know, she's in this star-crossed lover's anguish, and she's pleading with her daddy, and so she's saying, "O mio bambino." Bambino with a double B, caro. And she's saying, please. And then she's saying, oh Dio, oh God, please let me marry Renuncio. And so, she's just in anguish, and it's Romeo and Juliet all over again. Just, it's by Puccini. It's from Puccini's Gianni Schicchi. And I love opera so much because it really paints the human condition, just like the people that I see. And I hear about their lives often when I'm working with people with disabilities. We do keep it kind of primarily focused and directed on employment, but occasionally we have our little fun forays, or we stray off where they'll talk to me about their personal lives and about some of the trials and tribulations they're experiencing in any given moment, And opera is so much a living, breathing version of, wow, my life is a hot mess, but it's fun and it's dynamic and it's exciting, and and yes, it's an exaggerated version probably, but it's about divorce and litigation. It's about bizarre love triangles. It's about what a lot of people wrestle with in their imaginations, feelings of immortality and mortality, really identifying with their own mortality.
I like it. A lot of passion.
Yeah, a lot of passion. A lot of passion goes into it, just like it does real life.
So why did you choose to be a classically trained opera singer? Because I want to let Lenny Revelle gigs. I heard you sing a rock song, and you were really good. You really
rock song.
You rocked the rock song.
Yep. Well, thank you. I think it was Alone by Heart and Love Heart. I've got to say, I'm pretty versatile as a musician, but I got going actually when I was 14, recognized by this one by the name of Audrey Holmes. Her son is a jazz artist. He's been on The Tonight Show, Saturday Night Live. His name is Clint Holmes. He's a famous jazz singer, and Audrey Holmes was a very strict woman from England. She was very, uptight and British, but an amazing teacher. She used to slap my hand if I didn't sing well, She's definitely the school marm type with the ruler out, But an amazing, amazing inspiration. And she gave me a phenomenal foundation. And, I've been singing for years and taking with different instructors. And I've just had some amazing experiences along the way. And I just, it's not my forefront or it's not on the front burner of my life. It's never been that, pinnacle of what I've decided to create as my passion. But I think that's the reason why I'm so passionate about it too, is I can do it as a hobby.
Well, I'll say this, because I used to travel a lot to Atlanta because my friend Gordon, he lived there, and he's got a music scholarship at Fredonia. He's a classically trained piano, and he plays private parties, and sometimes he gets like $500 an hour. Yeah. And he had a friend, Vicky, that you remind me of, where she can sing those difficult opera pieces, and I must admit, you're as good as Vicky. I mean, you could be singing at private parties for $500 an hour.
A pop.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I have occasionally done the private parties, but not a whole heck of a lot. I kind of like the private parties the most. I do love being on the stage and performing on a main stage, performing a role. I love getting into the character and understanding the etiology of that character. So, yes. But my favorite thing to do is to perform at nursing homes and perform for private parties, because you have that intimacy with the audience and that personal play, and you have a lot of people who still recognize the songs because they love the classics, and they're humming along with, or they're dancing along with, and they may be even more familiar with some of the songs than you. So it's beautiful in many regards to make that personal human connection. I would love to have the opportunity to sing more professionally and out in the forays, in the forefront. I don't know. I guess I'm not really that great at marketing myself. I almost need someone else to do it for me in a certain sense. Not that I don't have confidence, but, I'm...
Maybe my friend Gordon.
Yeah, hey, maybe your friend Gordon. I will not turn Gordon down if he gets an opportunity for me, and I thank you humbly. But I'm just, I kind of go where the opportunities find me. I don't usually put myself out there, my business card out there to sing.
Okay, I must say this. We got 38 seconds left, so
right.
I'll leave it for you to sum up for parting comments, maybe
awesome.
Maybe talk about your website again, or...
Yeah. Well, just parting comments. Please go to our website. Please check us out. We do have such dynamic services we offer. We offer a lot of different types of things. As I mentioned, resumes and cover letters, interview coaching. We do a lot of interview coaching with clients, so we help them to get amply prepared for interviews. So go to our website at www.innovativeplacementswny.com, or you can feel free to give me a call and reach out at 716-883-1793.
Okay, that's it.
Perfect.